we're going to move on here to the Seahawks segment of the show, where we get straight into sort of team notes here. On the 9th of the month, the team invited linebacker Dylan Moses to rookie minicamp. He's a two-time All-American and a two-time national champion, last playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So some more linebacker depth there, again, outside of Devin Bush and Bobby Wagner. Until Jordan Brooks returns from his injury, Seattle's trying to figure out some linebacker spots and who they will have on the outsides there as they continue to run that 3-4 defense this season. And then on the 10th, the team signed running back Bryant Koback to fill out their 90-man roster. He will be at that rookie minicamp. Spent some time in the NFL, was with the Vikings previously, so that'll be interesting to see. Had a 1,400-yard season in 2021 as last year. What state? I want to say it was Toledo. I apologize. I thought I had a better – it was Toledo. Hey, I remembered that. So that's good. On the 11th, there were some roster-related moves. The team restructured wide receiver Tyler Lockett's deal. They converted $8.53 million of his base salary into a signing bonus, creating $5.69 million into cap space. Then later on in the day, a move was made to sign defensive end Mario Edwards. Edwards signed a 1-year deal. He's a 9-year veteran. He had 3 sacks and 7 starts for the Titans last year. So limited action, obviously. But any sort of front 7 move here is Seattle looking to improve their pass rush. Against pass rush has been an issue for this team for a while. They had tried to address it in the draft with Derek Hall, Cameron Young coming in. We'll get to minicamp here in a second. Excuse me. Maybe a bug there. But yeah, Seattle obviously looking to address the pass rush issue, and that's a reason for bringing in Edwards despite the limited time. Pete Carroll said at the beginning of free agency they had a discussion with Edwards, and they liked what they saw from him. So now they're bringing him in after restructuring Lockett's deal. We're going to quickly go over here rookie minicamp, some takeaways from rookie minicamp. The Seattle's 2 top picks were relatively quiet. Where did we go? Devon Witherspoon and Jackson Smith-Njigba were limited participants due to hamstring injuries that they dealt with during the pre-draft process. They did participate in walkthroughs and some positional drills, but did sit out during the team periods in 7-on-7. They're both precautionary measures. I know that there was concern with Jackson Smith-Njigba as he missed 2022, most of 2022 with a lingering hamstring. But he said he's taking it slow and taking it one step at a time, and he feels 100% ready to go. Smith-Njigba was spending a lot of time with the receivers coach, Sanjay Lal, who is also the passing game coordinator. He would join the huddle. Then when the player at his position went to line of scrimmage, he would stand about 10 yards behind him and mimic his stance in any pre-snap motion. So he's basically, not to use the word again, but going through the motions despite not technically being involved. Seattle does have 3 of their draftees under contract, and Cameron Young, their first-year nose tackle. Okay, sorry. Cameron Young is under contract. Jonah Tavai out of San Diego State is under contract. And then there was one more I missed. Where did he go? Robert Cooper out of Florida State, FSU. So I know that was a big issue with Al Woods signing somewhere. Seattle wanted to bring Woods back at a lower price than he initially would have come at, but they didn't do that. They do like that Cameron Young came into minicamp adding, I believe, 20 more pounds than he had at the draft. Trying to get all the notes that I had on minicamp here. Coach Carroll did confirm that the team will sign Mario Edwards. They don't have any contract terms recently available, which is interesting. He's a 29-year-old. He had 11 quarterback hits last year with those 3 sacks that I mentioned. Yeah, nothing too crazy in terms of stats. Excuse me. Seattle's expecting Edwards to immediately factor into the pass rush packages. So yeah, this is all something that Seattle's looking to get after the quarterback. And that's, a big aspect of things here. Obviously, as Seattle tries to help out their secondary after the pass defense game really took a hit last year. And they just couldn't really rush the quarterback in general. In addition, with the nose tackle trying to sturdy up that run defense a bit more as well. So those are notes from rookie minicamp. It's a very small thing. Then the NFL calendar kind of gets boring. There's a May meeting around the NFL, but that's about it for a while. So that might be the last of the sort of Seahawks things that we hear for a bit, outside of maybe injury news and maybe free agent stragglers here and there. The 2023-2024 schedule has been released. Excuse me. And the preseason games, I don't believe we have any more Seattle information, because we were given who the team's going to play, but not the times and such for the preseason. We'll see here. Oh, yeah, we do. Okay. Nope. To be determined still. Great. So the preseason, typically Team Seattle doesn't really play during the preseason. Week 1 versus the Vikings at Lumen Field. Week 2 versus the Cowboys at Lumen Field. And then week 3 at Green Bay at Lambeau. So Vikings and Cowboys at home, weeks 1 and 2, and then the Green Bay Packers on the road in week 3 for the preseason. Then the regular season begins as Seattle looks to build off the impressive 2022-2023 season that nobody expected them to have, except for maybe themselves. Starting here, week 1, September 10th versus the LA Rams at home with a 1:25 p.m. start. So Seattle gets to start things off with how they ended last season against the Rams at home. It's always nice to start the season at home. It just feels better, in my opinion. Week 2, they head out on the road on September 17th to play the Detroit Lions. I apologize. I had baseball in the mind there with the Tigers. Detroit Lions with a 10 a.m. start. Then week 3, September 24th, they come back home versus the Panthers and Bryce Young, the number 1 overall draft pick, with a 1:05 p.m. start. Week 4, head back out on the road. You're going to notice a little bit of a pattern here. Seattle does not play any back-to-back 10 a.m. road games, which is nice. But regardless, week 4, October 2nd at the New York Giants. That's a Monday Night Football game at 5:15 p.m. Pacific time. That's Seattle's first primetime game of the year, heading out to play the New York Football Giants on Monday night. Week 5 is their bye week, a bit of an early bye week. Not the most helpful, as Seattle has a tough stretch towards the end of the year, but it's not like we can do anything about it. Week 6, October 15th at the Cincinnati Bengals is a 10 a.m. game. That'll be a big one. Joe Burrow and that Bengals team that should be near or around the top of the AFC again this year. Week 7, October 22nd versus the Arizona Cardinals at home. That's a 1:05 p.m. game, the first time they play the Cardinals. Week 8, October 29th versus the Cleveland Browns and Deshaun Watson at 1:05 p.m. Pacific time. First time the Browns have been here since, I believe, Johnny Manziel was the quarterback a few years ago when they came to Seattle. Week 9 is November 5th at the Baltimore Ravens, a 10 a.m. start. So they head out to Baltimore for the first time since, I believe actually Chris Matthews had a good game in that year. Russell Wilson had 3 passing touchdowns, I believe. Week 10, November 12th. Is this on the? Oh, yes, we have to switch to the second half here. Week 10, November 12th versus the Washington Commanders at 1:25 p.m. Pacific. Week 11, November 19th at the Rams, 1:25 p.m. So they finish off their 2 games against Los Angeles. Week 12, this is where things start to get interesting and more interesting. November 23rd versus the 49ers, 5:20 p.m. game. That is Thanksgiving, and that is Thursday Night Football. So Seattle gets the primetime game on Thanksgiving in their own building. That'll be a really big set. Week 14, nope, I skipped one. Week 13. So Seattle has back-to-back primetime games. Week 13, November 30th at the Cowboys is a 5:15 p.m. game. So they're on the road, and it's a Thursday night game. So they have back-to-back Thursday night games. I believe there's a stretch of 3 games within 12 days, which is kind of rough. And then week 14, they will play the Niners 2 times in 3 weeks. December 10th versus the Niners is a 1:05 p.m. Start time. Oops, that's at the 49ers. I apologize. Week 15, December 17th versus the Eagles at 1:25 p.m. Pacific. So the reigning NFC champs, Seattle, will host them and Jalen Hurts in his big new contract. Week 16, December 24th, Christmas Eve at the Tennessee Titans on the road, which is a 10 o'clock start. Week 17, the last road game of the year, December 31st, New Year's Eve versus the Pittsburgh Steelers is a 1:05 p.m. start. And then week 18 on the road at the Cardinals to finish out the regular season, time to be determined, the regular season finale. So that is, excuse me, the 2023-24 regular season slate for our Seahawks, who are hopefully looking to build off of, again, a surprise postseason berth this past season, adding what looks to be some key draft pieces this year, and adding a few big names in free agency as well. And Draymond Jones, obviously Bobby Wagner, who you just saw on the screen, and get Jamal Adams back at some point during the year as well. John Schneider wouldn't comment on a specific timeline, but did say that he was progressing well, and they're excited to try and get him back for, the first few years he's been here, obviously been banged up with injury. So they're looking to get him back full swing and get forward to that, obviously. Oh, Julian Love, Donkin safety, is another key free agent addition for Seattle. So quick stop in league-related news. May 12th, Tom Brady is reportedly eyeing ownership, a stake there with the Raiders. The retired quarterback is in deep discussions to become a limited partner of the franchise, which is very interesting, at least considering if you know Tom Brady's history with the Raiders, but I digress. And then on the 12th also, the Washington Commanders were finally sold. The Josh Harris ownership group that includes Magic Johnson agreed to buy the team from the Snyder family. So that hopefully is the last of that saga, and I can stop having to worry about talking about the Commanders.